these pages, there's different pages, they not like from 68 to 70.
Yeah, all through it.
All through the book, okay. So, thank you, baby.
No, he's not coming.
All right, 6 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order. Item number 2, citizens' comments.
There's no inside that we feel, yeah. There's no, oh, there's
We
no.
have one.
Oh, yeah.
No, not all. That's all. Ms. Buchanan,
Yes.
you're up.
Oh, okay. I'm asking these questions on behalf of several of the people who are here this evening and a bunch that were not able to attend. What we want to know is, who has the authority to put the citizens of Hitchcock in debt of $27 million, negotiate the terms, and decide when and how the money was to be used, the terms of the loan, and how the citizens were going to pay it back without any input from the citizens? Who in city government made the decision to lie to the citizens of Hitchcock and call this $27 million loan a grant that doesn't have to be paid back, when in effect it does? And why is this little town of 12,000 people paying one of the highest tax rates in the entire Galveston County? And why are our water rates also one of the highest for some of the poorest water quality in the county of Galveston?
Thank you. That was the only one we had. Do you have any other ones? Leroy, did you want to?
Yes, I do. Good evening, Mayor, Council. If I may make a point of personal privilege to speak regarding some of the concerns about the utility fund and what the utility fund are funding for the city and our utility system. If I can just provide a little bit of context to you and to some of the citizens here in Hitchcock that are here at the meeting tonight. We've been met with tremendous challenges in our utility system. Several challenges that have stemmed from years past that now we're kind of trying to clean up some of the sins of yesteryear. And I would say that the regulatory agency, which is the TCEQ, I would say that they have been extremely lenient with us in trying to work with us to address a lot of these issues that have festered for a very long time. I've been here 4.5 years now, and I think that from day one, we were met with a lot of these challenges, right? We've done a lot of work in a short period of time to try to regain and maintain compliance throughout our water system, throughout our wastewater system, whether it be at our treatment facilities or in our collection and distribution system. But I think that we've done a tremendous amount of work in a short period of time. I would say that that's only a start of what really needs to happen to really keep us on that upward trajectory and really to meet the mandate that the TCEQ has placed on this city for regulatory compliance. I just want to highlight some of the projects that we have on schedule to address in this upcoming fiscal year. And I'll start with the water division. Every year, our annual budget, a big part of our annual water fund is our drinking water allotment from the Gulf Coast Water Authority. It's around a number of $774,000 annually, and that is for 2 million gallons per day allotment, right? So that basically supplies our entire city's water system, right? It supplies all of our citizens with water on a daily basis, which is very expensive. We're not the only city, obviously, that purchases water from Gulf Coast. I would say just about every system in every city in Galveston County purchases water from the Gulf Coast Water Authority. $774,000 is our annual fee. $91,000 of that is the pro rata share for projects that the city of Hitchcock has to pay into Gulf Coast Water Authority so they can address some of their maintenance issues as well to continue to supply us with water. Right now, our Neville water plant, which is the main water plant in the city, we are facing a tremendous challenge with our electrical system there because a lot of the electrical system there needs upgrades for reliability and sustainability. Many of the controls there at the facility are dated and are in need of a swift update. And this project will clean up most of the wiring and the conduit and a lot of the controls, which are essentially the brains of our water system. We have to address that. We actually had it in the budget last year to address it, but obviously we had to reallocate some funds for some other pressing issues. So our hope is that we can address that this year and really create that reliability and sustainability. You know, we're a coastal community, and so we are in direct line of whatever system or whatever natural disaster comes our way. And so in order for us to ensure no interruption of service, we've got to update a lot of these controls that are at our treatment facilities. Also, more recently in the August meeting, we got approval from council to apply for an additional $26 million from the Texas Water Development Board for the Texas Water Fund Water Loss Mitigation Project. These funds will allow us to address a lot of the undersized and leaking water lines in the community. We've done a tremendous job in just this short period of time to really address water loss, as I can't even put a number on how many leaks, you know, I would say within the first couple of years of our tenure here that we addressed, really because the city was just leaking money. We were wasting a tremendous amount of money with unaccounted for water that we were losing. Hopefully, we applied August 15th for this additional loan, and hopefully, you know, we'll get a favorable decision. This particular loan is a 90-10 match, where they will pay 90% of it, and the city will be on the hook for only 10% of that loan amount. So hopefully we'll get a favorable decision with that loan. Also, TxDOT has proposed a bridge relocation project in the upcoming fiscal year. We have roughly $2 million of what we think that the project cost will amount to. It may come in cheaper, but once we get to that point and we cross that bridge, we'll know exactly what our hard cost is. How it affects Hitchcock is Hitchcock has facilities on TxDOT's bridge where we have to move them. We have a water line on the bridge and we also have a sewer line on the bridge. And it would just be wise for us to get it off of TxDOT's bridge and put it on our own bridge. And so we won't have those interruptions in the future. That's all for the water division. Let me jump to the sewer division, where I would say a lot of our problems lie. As many of you know, the city was awarded a $27 million loan with $4 million of forgiveness for the rehab of the city's collection system, sewer collection system. If I had to pick one thing that kind of keeps city staff up at night, it would be our wastewater collection system and our wastewater treatment plant. We have extensive issues relative to our wastewater system in the city. We've addressed a lot, but there is still a lot of work to do. And I think that this $27 million will assist us and aid us in really trying to address a lot of those issues. Will it fix it all? No. Let me just be honest with you. No, it's not going to fix everything. But I think that's a good start for us to give us a solid foundation to be able to address a lot of our issues with sewer mains that are clay, a lot of old mains that need to be replaced, concrete mains that need to come out and be replaced. A lot of manholes that we have where we have a lot of inflow and infiltration. Many of the residents may know that every time it rains, some of them find it very hard to flush their toilets. Some of them have backups in their bathtub. Well, that's a direct indication and a direct result of inflow and infiltration. This is a long-standing issue in the city, right? It's been going on for a very long time. But now I think we're at a place now where we can no longer kick the can down the road. As I forestated, the TCQ has been very lenient with us and very patient with us. They have allowed us to enroll ourselves into SEP programs, which is supplemental environmental programs, where they allow us to take that fine amount that otherwise would be fined to the city, and they allow us to put that amount back into our system, back into our utility system. So we don't have to cut a check and perform a project of equal value. So these are just some of the issues, right, with the collection system. Also, the city was awarded $3.8 million a couple of years ago, to address the solids handling at the wastewater treatment facility. This is how we dispose of our solids at the wastewater treatment facility. Currently, we have a 1/2 meter belt press, which is nowhere near big enough to dispose of the solids at the rate that we need to dispose of them at a 3 MGD sewer plant. This project will allow us to employ a new technology, which is a screw press. It's a sludge screw press that will allow us to put that in, and it will basically double the amount of sludge that we can produce, in contrast to what we produce with that belt press. It takes us about a week to fill up a 40-yard roll-off box right now with the size press that we have. And with these 2 screw presses, it will allow us to process a box a day if we want to. We can adjust the speed on it, and we can adjust it, how much we want to dispose it, how quick we can dispose of it. So that's another thing that is a real compliance issue for us at the treatment facility. At one point, before we had the big maintenance with performance services, we could not dispose of a lot of the material that was at the treatment facility with the grit and the sand and all of that content that was in our racetrack. Many of you know that we removed about six tons of silt and sand material from our wastewater treatment plant. That's a direct result of I&I. So the 3.8 million will aid us in our solids handling. Also, we were awarded $1.9 million from the federal government for the American Relief Fund Act, which is the ARPA funds. That will also allow us to construct a new bar screen in our wastewater treatment facility. We haven't had a mechanical bar screen. I don't think the plant has ever had a mechanical bar screen. It's had a manual bar screen, which at this juncture is almost impossible for us to get down and clean and maintenance as it should. Because of the depth of our wet well structure at the facility, we just cannot put men down in that structure because of safety. It's too many gases that lie in that structure, and we just can't do it. We just can't subject anybody to those conditions. So the way we do it now is quarterly or biannually, we'll have a maintenance. We'll have a plant maintenance where we contract a company to come in with fresh air to go down 20 feet down into that structure and clean that structure. It doesn't really last us a long time, but it's a necessity and we have to get into it. Okay. Also, the city was awarded in 2020 $3.8 million to address a force main on Delisandre Drive, where we have had an excessive amount of SSO, sanitary sewer overflows. Just a little context on SSOs. Every time we have an SSO, it's essentially a violation. And so we have to report those. The fact that we can't control them in a rain event, they don't give us any grace on that. We still have to report them, and we still have to follow through with whatever the requirement is as far as explanation for these SSOs, right? At this point, because of the condition of our collection system, every time it rains, we're gonna have an SSO. Every single time we have a rain event, whether large or small, whether it's 2 inches or 12 inches, we're gonna have an SSO at some place in the city. And I said that to say that this issue with I&I is not an isolated issue, right? It's a widespread citywide issue. Nobody has preference. No district is better than the other. We have SSOs in every single district, and this is why it's the sense of urgency that the city staff is taking to address some of these issues, because addressing I&I is a marathon. It's nothing that we're gonna fix tomorrow or next week or even next year. It's a process. Yes, we were awarded the $27 million, but it's still a process. We still have evaluation to do. We've done 2 rounds of evaluation where we've identified a lot of our issues in 2 of our districts, but we still have 2 more districts to finish evaluation. And that will highlight some of those issues in some of those other districts where we hadn't got as much information. Once we finish the evaluation portion, then we will get into the design phase of the project, where engineers and other partners will help us to identify what the best course of action is to address some of these issues. How many manholes we need to address, how many linear feet of sewer line that we need to replace, or can we slip line some, or can we pipe burst some. So there's going to be a lot of conversation that happens between now and then to address some of the issues, to correct some of the issues that we have, right? Also, so the Delisandre main, we are getting very close to that. We're gonna probably be taking that to bid here within the next couple of months, as well as the bar screen project is moving and progressing finally. And also a part of that CDBG project, that $3.6 million that we were awarded in 2020, will address some of the clarifiers that are at the wastewater treatment plant, the splitter boxes that feeds the clarifiers from our racetrack. So we're looking at trying to do a light overhaul of our wastewater treatment facilities. Obviously, we can't build a new one. That would be ideal at this time, but fiscally, we just can't do that right now. So we've been awarded these grant funds to address some of these issues. Also, lastly, I want to touch on this, which is the $14 million design and construction of our ammonia reduction system at the wastewater treatment plant. This ammonia reduction system will essentially allow us to accept the stormwater runoff from landfills in the area, which is a strong revenue source for the city. We had been in contract for several years with some landfill partners. We had to stop abruptly because we needed to address some compliance issues relative to what the state required. So we are about 75% of the way through that process. We almost have the permit in hand, as well as an amendment and a renewal. Once that is finished, then we'll move into the next phase of that project, which is design and construction of that facility to be able to house and accept that third-party waste. Again, that's a strong revenue source for the city, has been historically, and I think it will be moving forward for years to come. So many of the residents ask the question, why do we see such an increase in the utility rates, in the tax rates? Well, I can't 100% speak to that. I think that this may be just only one part of why we see the increase. But if it's any consolation, I would say that we are working extremely hard to address a lot of the issues that many residents don't see. Many residents don't even really think about this a lot of the time. But there are several things that probably should have been addressed 30 years ago here. But here we are now in 2024, trying to address them all simultaneously. It's difficult. It's a challenge. But I think that we're doing the best we can with what we have, especially with the support of our council and several other staff members and leadership members here in the city that is working toward an end goal. Yes, we do have high rates here, but we also have to address a lot of the issues that have festered for several years. So I would ask that, that the community would just continue to work with us, bear with us, continue to work with us, give us a little grace. I know it's not an easy pill to swallow, but we face these things and we deal with these things every single day. And I think I can boldly say on behalf of the staff here that raising rates is probably the last thing that we wanted to do. We want to make it palatable for everyone here in the city. But at this juncture, we really don't have a choice but to do what we have to do to maintain utilities and maintain operations for the city. And lastly, I would say this. The city has not seen the demand that we have every single day for services and for maintenance. The city's never seen this type of demand. In 4 years, we've had a drastic increase in demand for services and maintenance. When I first got here in 2020, I'm not gonna say I was twiddling my thumbs a lot, but certainly there was not as much work as there is now. And I think that's just a result of the community really seeing that the city is putting forth an effort to correct a lot of these things. And when they see work, they need work. And so again, I would just beseech the constituents here and the citizens here to just bear with us as we attempt to make the city better as a whole for everybody. Thank you.
All right, we'll move into the public hearing. Item 3, we'll open up ordinance 24, public hearing on the zone change request submitted by Falcon Lake Investment Corporation from agricultural residential to single family residential for parcel ID 134615. Do you have anybody sign up for that one? No. All right, we'll close that at 6:24. Open up item 4 at 6:24. Public hearing on proposed tax rate.
No one signed up to. No one signed up to speak on it.
Close that at 6:24. Public hearing on proposed fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
No one has spoken on that either. No one signed up.
Okay, close that one at 6:20. Item 6, discussion of appropriate action on the zone change request submitted by Falcon Lake Investment Corporation from agricultural residential to single family residential for parcel ID 134615. Mr. Cross.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity. This is a zone change request for a property at 7717 Prairie. The property is about 1/3 of an acre. It has historically been zoned as agricultural residential, which has very large setbacks. It is now a small residential property lot, and a house is being constructed, and the applicant has requested that the zoning be changed to single-family residential to allow for more build space on the property by reducing the required setbacks for that zoning district. It was heard by Planning and Zoning Commission in August. They voted unanimously to recommend to council that the zone change be granted.
You have any questions? All right, I have a motion to approve the zone change request submitted by Falcon Lake Investment Corporation from agricultural residential to single family residential for parcel ID 134615.
I'll make a motion for approval.
A motion, do I have a second? Second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries with all in favor. Item 7, discussion of appropriate action approving a plat request submitted by Diamond Trail Ranch LP to combine 14 abutting tracts of land into one large tract known general industrial totaling 283.76 acres located on FM 2004. Mr. Cross.
Again, thank you. This particular replat, as it says, involves 280 plus acres down south on FM 2004. Many smaller, irregular shaped parcels that have been acquired by Diamond Trio over in the past, and they are anxious to consolidate all the individual small parcels into one large parcel to allow for potential commercial and/or industrial development at the far end of FM 2004. Again, Planning and Zoning considered this activity back in August and voted unanimously to recommend to City Council that they approve the rezone, or the replat, excuse me, of all the properties to a single zone.
This is all the property they own on 2004?
What?
Was this all the property that Trios Ranch owns on 2004?
Yes, yeah, and it extends back in. There's only several parcels that actually abut 2004, but they go south and east from that in large parcels to that.
They want a commercial or commercial buildings.
It's currently zoned as general industrial. They could, if the opportunity were correct, perhaps rezone it to general commercial. They could also potentially rezone it to a planned development district for residential development if they so choose. This is just to consolidate to make one large usable piece of property.
All right, do I have a motion to approve a plat request submitted by Diamond Trail Ranch LP to combine 14 abutting tracts of land into one large tract zoned as general industrial totaling 283.76 acres located on FM 2000.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, do second?
A second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries with all in favor. Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Item 8, discussion and appropriate action approving a sole source purchase of the new Freon mechanical bar screen for vision equipment.
Good evening again. I'm here tonight, this evening, seeking approval to move forward with the sole source purchase of the Duperon mechanical bar screen. As I've stated previously, the treatment facility does not have a mechanical bar screen at this time. It's only a manual bar screen. This mechanical bar screen will aid us tremendously in safeguarding a lot of our other treatment equipment and processes. Most importantly, attempting to maintain regulatory compliance and upgrading our screening capabilities is not only a matter of operational efficiency, but it's also a commitment to our environmental responsibility for public health for our city. The reason we went with the Duperon mechanical bar screen is because of our unique design constraints at our existing wet well, and because the two incoming lines that are coming in from the east and west direction of the city is at significant depth, I would say between 25 and 30 feet. This application of the Duperon screen allows us to basically get to the bottom of our wet well to catch all of those inorganic materials and solids that are coming into our treatment facility and get them out. Right now, we don't have the ability to do that. So, it really leaves a lot of our high-end treatment equipment exposed for maintenance failures and a lot of other things because we really don't have any protection. So we came to the conclusion that the Duperon screen will be the best application that fits our design and our facility that will work in tandem with the new headwork structure. Vision Equipment is also the representative that represents this manufacturer and this technology. We've been working with Vision Equipment since about, I would say, 2020. So we've developed a good relationship with them, and I'm fully confident that whatever need arises will be addressed by this representative Vision Equipment.
Is there any other cities around us using the same setup?
Not in the general vicinity. I've actually been to Missouri, Farmington, Missouri, to take a look at this application. There was a city close to us. They did not have a permanent screen. They just had a temporary Duperon screen. So it was on a much smaller scale. But because of the size of our wet well, we had to go out of town and take a look at it.
What's the warranty on this?
I don't have the warranty information on it. I think once we get to the next phase of this, where we start looking at warranty, I just talked to our engineer about that, Joe, with SPI. And so that's actually the next step in the process to gain the knowledge about the warranty situation and have our legal team to look over that and make certain that says what it's supposed to say in terms of protection for the city.
Thank you. Got any questions?
Yeah, so this was, you mentioned earlier, this was we were having a hire a contract company to come in and be there and go down to repair that?
No. So the hiring a contractor to come in and do that maintenance at the treatment facility is just to keep the current screen that we have clean. If I could just paint the picture, when that screen gets clogged up with rags and trash and debris, what it does is it causes backup in our collection system. And so we have a 36-inch line coming in from the west side of town, and we have a 30-inch line that's coming in from the east side of town. Those are brick lines, right? So we have a lot of I&I on those lines. But when all of that debris accumulates in that line, it essentially backs up the collection system. So what this mechanical bar screen will do, basically it has claws on it, it's basically like a mechanical rake, and it just goes down to the depth, to the bottom of the wet well, and it just scrapes all of that material off of those screens, off of those bars, right? So it keeps those bars clean, and essentially what it does is it keeps the level in the collection system down, so we can have backups in our collection system. And it also, most importantly, keeps our process clean at the wastewater treatment facility. When we have a lot of those inorganic solids, those solids that we can't process and we can't break down, that's what this bar screen does. It removes all of that and it preserves all of our pumps. At our main lift station, we have 6-inch pumps, 8-inch pumps. We're talking about $20,000 a piece. So we need to do whatever we can do to preserve those pumps, to maintain them, keep them clean, keep them operable. And so that's really what this piece of equipment does for us. Yeah, that maintenance is something that we have to do because we don't have the ability to keep it clean the way we need to.
I know you did mention something about the backup that happens sometimes when just in a rain event.
So
Is this one of the remedies for that? I didn't quite catch it.
it will help. It will help. It won't fix the whole problem in totality, but it will certainly help the cause. Keeping that screen clean at the treatment facility allows us to pass that flow through unrestricted, unimpeded. Essentially, in a rain event, there's nothing we can do. We just have to let it flow through the system at its own pace. Find the path of least resistance, and that's how it gets out. Once we get this screen in, this screen will run continuously, and it will be flow proportional. So as high flows ramp up, then the screen will run in tandem with whatever the flow is coming in. So when we have high flows, it'll run more frequently. When there's low flow or normal flow, then it'll run on its allotted time or whatever the set points are that we set it for. That's when it'll run. So it will aid in keeping the levels down in our collection system, but it won't fix it in totality.
Is this going to be tied into the SCADA system?
It will. Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a motion to approve a sole source purchase of the Dupron mechanical bar screen through Vision Equipment?
I make a motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
There's a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries, all in favor. Thank you. All right, item 9, we're gonna pull from the agenda tonight, so we'll go to item 10, executive session. We're going to executive session at 6:36. Executive session adjournment to executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, section 551.0711A, to consult with the city attorney to seek his advice on contemplated litigation and settlements, and section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. it's 6:58 from closed session, but there's nothing that we're gonna deliberate on, so with that, we'll close the meeting. Thank y'all.
Thanks for your.
Money almost.